Hey guys, it's your favorite gold miner, prospector, and geologist, Jeff Williams. Remember the video we shot on how much gold did the old timers leave behind? Remember we sampled all those spots and one of them was incredibly rich. Well, guess what? We're back and we're gonna get in there and we're gonna find out just how much gold the old timers did leave behind. Except this time, that's right, we brought a concentrator. We're gonna power through this thing and we're gonna concentrate and see how much gold comes out of here, and that will solve the riddle once and for all of how much gold did the old timers leave behind. So let's get into it. What are we using as a concentrator? Well, you know me, I'm a Keen fan, and we're running this beautiful Keen 140S. Not the 140, but the 140S. And what I like about these is they're lightweight. You can get them into some of these remote areas, and they even make a backpack for them too, so you can stick it on your back with the blower. Isn't that cool? And the beauty of this guy is it uses static electricity to hold on to the ultra-fine gold. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that, huh? That's right, not just a pretty face. Believe it or not, fine gold is attractive, or it does have an affinity for static electricity. So Keen figured out how to make static electricity from the air blowing up through there. And I'll go over that later, I know. But right now, I got my concentrator or dry washer set up, and we're gonna go in here and we're gonna pull out as much material as we can, because when we did a sample, this place tested really, really good. And that's what you should be doing too. On your off months, you go out and you sample. You keep a book or some type of a map or a log of where you sample, and that way you know the best spots to go to when the season is right to go back with bigger equipment. Remember, when you're sampling, that's not production. You're just trying to find the best place to go back to when the season is right and you can bring bigger gear. I know, I can hear from here. Just stop all that jaw jacking and tongue wagging. Get in that hole and get us some gold. Man, you guys are a tough crowd. All right, now, do you remember this place? Oh, it's so juicy, but it's dangerous because I have all these large giant cobbles and large rounded boulders sitting over my head, so I gotta be real careful. But this right here, this red zone is where I sampled last, and it had fantastic gold in it. And I'm gonna take from here down to the bedrock. And you see how smooth the bedrock is? And I even got a pocket down there. That would be great to capture gold. You see it down in here? So I'm gonna go ahead and jackhammer it out. And like I always tell you, bring a hammer drill. This is a Makita LXT. I love this thing. Why? Because it's lightweight. It has the most beats per minute. No, we're not talking about music, so don't think I'm gonna fall into one of the riff holes.
And it's not a paid commercial.
And it's not a paid commercial, like the boss lady said. I got myself a little 18-volt, 4-amp battery on here. Bring two if you're gonna be out here all day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run through here, and I'm gonna, ever so gently, get this material out. Now, what you can do is bring a tarp, and this stuff will actually fall in the tarp, then you bring the tarp out, put it in a bucket, and you're good to go. But I figure since we have this beautiful smooth bedrock here, I can just cut this stuff down and then just scoop it up, and we got a little brush. We can brush off the bedrock, and that's what you should be doing too. If you come out here and you're working some of these old auriferous channels, is get on the bedrock, and then you can just backpack or sweep it off. See how that works? And later, I'm gonna tell you why the gold is here and where it came from, because a lot of people never explain where the gold is coming from or why it's here. And you'll be really amazed when I tell you this story, because you can use this same principle in other areas where you're looking for these old auriferous channels in California and Nevada. All right, let me get on to getting that going. But I'm not gonna do anything until you smash that like button. Smash it hard! Now, if you guys aren't familiar on dry washer setups, a lot of guys forget one of the most crucial steps when they're running a dry washer, and that is to prime it. I know that sounds kind of weird, but if you've got buckets of fantastic material that have gold in it, and you just dump it in and there's nothing in the tray, that first material that comes over could get blown out. So what I always recommend is get some tails that you got laying around or any junk material and run it through first until you got a nice fluid bed running over the top of these riffles. Once you got that achieved, then start dumping in your good material. That way you're not wasting your time dumping stuff in that could get blown out. Look at this. This is a type of magnetite that's around here. In fact, this is a little teeny tiny piece. I've seen pieces this big, and look at that, they're round. Ooh, and there's a reason for this too. And all of this rock up here is rounded. Look at the one behind me. That's a monker. It's a big old ugly piece of basalt. And you have to look at these things because they're all telling a story. Every rock has a story to tell. All you have to do is understand what it's trying to tell you, and the clues line up. And I'm gonna go over this here in a minute as to why the gold's here, why all this rock is round. And the interesting interesting geological setting that took place during the Eocene period. That way you can use this type of information when you're out looking for auriferous channels. See how that works? I know, enough jaw jacking. Get on to getting that dry washer prime, Jeff. Ooh. What you were seeing me doing is I'm looking for adjustments. Every spot is different, so there's not a one size fits all on this, okay? So as you're running your rig, your dry washer, whether it's a Keen or if it's a Royal or whatever machine you have, you got to check to make sure that the flow is the right velocity coming off the end of this riffle box, okay? And you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of material building up on the side and opening the other side up for the air to come through. You don't want this stuff to go over too fast. If it's dry, you can get this to move over quite quickly. If it's moist, you gotta let it sit in the box for a little while, and that's where this adjustment here comes in. Now, if it's really moist, you're gonna put this on a tarp. You're gonna let it sit out, dry in the sun, and then run it again. Or if you got time, you mine all your material out, lay it flat on a big tarp, come back the next day, and then work it. It'll be super dry, because moist stuff is the worst. It holds onto that gold. It's terrible to work with. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm checking to make sure that my flow is right. I don't have anything building up in the box. It's not all starting to shift to one side. And if you listen to my little echo blower over there, you heard it cavitating, throttling up and down. The reason why is because there's an adjustment screw on the carb. But on some of these echoes, the newer ones, they put a little plastic plug over the adjustment screw, so you can't make adjustments. All you gotta do is get something small enough, heat it up, stick it in that piece of plastic, wait till it cools, pop the plastic out, then just back that screw off to the left just a little, and those things will hum like a top. But we got 2 buckets, we're just gonna alternate and run, and then at the end of the day, we're gonna do a cleanup. Now, one more thing before I get in the hole is every so often, it's very critical that you run your tails. These are called tails or tailings. And the reason why you do that is because you want to make sure you're not losing gold. So you're going to grab a sample out of here and you're going to pan it. And you're going to check to see if you have even the slightest amount of gold. If you do, you need to go back and you need to adjust this box. Because if you're losing gold here, then you're just wasting your time. And that's what all these adjustments are for on the side here and here. So you just continue to adjust your angles, and you can on these Keen 140S's adjust the amount of airflow. In the back, you've got this, it looks like a throttle plate, and I can say, hey, I don't want my box to shake that much, or I don't want that much air to come out. I open this guy up and I can let some of the air pressure come out that hole. See that? That little gate. If not, now I always run mine closed because I want this box to shake as hard as possible. And in fact, Keen, in their infinite wisdom, put these little bump stops in. I'm not using them today. I guess I should, but I'm not. These bump stops, what they do is they ride up against the box, and the vibration from the box shakes the hopper, and that way it ensures the flow through that flow gate. But me, I'm a stick in the mud. I run them without the bump stops. I want that box to run as much as possible. And yeah, once in a while my flow gate gets plugged up. I just shove my finger in the hole. Yeah, baby! PG, PG! So, all right, I'm gonna get back in the hole. I can hear it from here. Stop jaw jacking, Jeff. We want gold. I want gold too, but I gotta explain how this stuff works so that when you get out here, you can do it too with your finger. All right, here we go. I'm gonna clean this bedrock off, and I've got the bucket that goes with that that little Echo 210 leaf blower, I could actually backpack it. I just might do that because you'd be amazed how much little gold will sit down inside of this bedrock. I mean, it don't look like much, but I could probably easily, in this spot right here, have maybe 1/10 of an ounce, easy. It hides in this spot really, really well, especially in these little low bowls and pockets. So what I decided to do is what you should be doing is bring a tarp. So I brought a tarp, we're gonna lay it down. That way I ensure that we don't miss anything, because there's nothing worse than working your hiney for that shiny, and there's nothing worse than getting home and finding out you got a bucket full of black sand. So, all right, all right, let's get this thing going on. And I need to watch my back too, because it looks like this big old guy fell off the back. So I really need to be careful with that. And that's what you should be doing too, because technically, this is, even though it's bench mining, it's drift mining, because we're drifting along the bedrock. And if you know anything from my previous videos, drift mining can be the most dangerous mining there is, because this is just alluvial gravel here. A lot of it's auriferous from the Eocene period, but it's still alluvial in nature. And it has a tendency to want to fall when there's not a lot supporting it, especially if they're not compacted enough. Luckily for me, I got the boss lady behind the camera, huh, sweetie? Yep. And she's got my back, so if she sees a rock fall, she'll either tell me or she'll snicker. That's for not buying me that dress. Now you can use any type of tarp. I just happened to grab this painter's tarp. It's probably not big enough, but it's gonna have to do. And I'm just gonna get him up underneath here and then let the material roll down in there, and then I can just kind of pull it up and then dump it into a bucket and then move on from there.
I thought that you were making a bed.
I know, I'm gonna go to sleep down here. It's actually really nice in here.
Yes.
Now, you'll see a lot of times when we're down in our hard rocks, this is a very popular technique to lay down a tarp when you're working out of the vein, because then it just falls down, because there's nothing worse than working lode deposits and the material falls on the ground and you don't know where your material's at, or it gets cross-contaminated or diluted with the waste rock that's on the floor of the mine. So it's important to bring a tarp like this. And that's right. Yeah, who's crazy now? Good night. I'm gonna be sleeping in here. Yeah, these things are perfect, these diggings. It's cool in here and it gets you out of the elements, and you can live in here. And a lot of old timers did just that. They lived in their workings because it was the perfect place to get away from the desert heat, and it provided shelter. And then all they had to do is use the cobbles they pulled out to build a face on the front. All you need is a small smokestack and home sweet home. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I know, Jeff. You're stalling. You just don't want to dig. I do want to dig. But I want to take a break, but the foreman's right there. All right, here we go. Don't worry, I got eye protection. I got my M. Shaw super squints on. Ow! How did that get in there? Oh, and yeah, I brought dust mask, so I don't want to hear you guys out there. Jeff, you forgot your dust mask. No, I didn't. I just forgot. I chose not to wear it. It's freedom of choice. You can actually see alkalis precipitating out, and this is moist. I can actually feel moisture in this, which is no bueno. Because that means, look at that. That means this stuff is gonna have to be run twice. Or maybe even have to be set out in the sun. I didn't think I'd see moisture down in here, but yeah. Ah, for you South Park fans. Yeah, I know. Get on with it, Jeff. All right, so I'm gonna have my wife dig, because, you know, it's break time. I got my union sanctioned brakes. Come on. She's gonna be down here checking everything, make sure it's up to spec, so. All right, get on in there, get some. Okay. I'll get the banjo going. Yeah, just drop them pants. Well, what are you waiting for?
It's not working, sweetie.
You gotta pull the trigger. You gotta get that gold. We gotta get that gold. I got everything mortgaged on this gold plant. Sound familiar?
Yeah, I forgot how to use it.
Squeeze the trigger.
I did.
Harder. Smash it hard.
Look, it's not working. I got the battery or something. Look.
Here, let me see. Oh, here's your problem right here. I saw this on YouTube. Ready?
No, it's not.
It works great like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, hey, I'm getting something. I'm getting something. See, it's trying to work. Yeah. I know. Gold fever make a crazy man out of you. All right, well, the battery ain't working or this thing is falling apart. It can't be. It's a Makita. And I can't dig like that. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop up what we got, run it through the dry washer, and then I'm gonna tell you why the gold's here and how it got here and how you can use these indicators to find your own gold. Man, they got some nice pockets in here in the bedrock. Nice deep bowls. Woo-wee. Oh wait, it's my union sanctioned break. Hold on. I'll be back in 15. Oh no. All right. My wife has figured out how to short out the battery to get out of work. We're only gonna run these last 2 buckets, okay? Yeah, I know, but at least it's something. So let that be a lesson to you guys out there bringing your battery-powered gear out to these remote job sites, these gold-producing districts. Bring extra batteries. I don't care what it's for, whether it's radios or hammer drills or what have you. Just remember to bring extra batteries, because you just might need some, son of Jim. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this stuff in. That makes it what? 4 buckets. So I got 4 full buckets I'm running through here, and that'll give me a really nice snapshot. Now I wanted to run all day, but unfortunately, yeah, well, you know the story. So I know, enough chin wagging. Get on to getting that gold. All right, now I want you to see this real quick. My box could take a little adjustment because look at the flow pattern here. Yeah, I know there's a slope here, but I got a little bit more on this side than on this side. So I can rock this box to the side, the dirt underneath will fill up, and then it'll move some of the material aside. That's why I say you have to toy with the box and get the right settings on it, because every situation is different. And if you notice, some of our material is moist. And if I was really hardcore about this, I'd go ahead and run this stuff twice, because chances are there's still some fine gold stuck in that moist dirt. But you know what? I'm in for the big gold. Give me that big gold! Were you thinking of the gold, or were you thinking of the card? We're gonna put this into a dedicated bucket. Remember that, your concentrates, need to go into a dedicated bucket. Don't just put it off the side and think, oh, what's all this little dirt here? Let's throw it off to the side. No, I've seen too many guys do that. And then they throw a whole day's worth of work right onto the ground. And then they don't think nothing of it until they get home and find out, oh my God, I just wasted a full day. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this tray out, dump it in, and then I'm gonna show you the magic of the box. That's right, there's magic here. Smash that button. No, smash that like button. Smash it hard. I'm losing my marbles out here. Like any dry washer, you pull the top riffle tray out like such. See that? And you dump it in here like such. Now I know you guys probably know this, but what you probably don't know is on these Keen 140S's, this is what generates static electricity. That's right, when the air blows over this creates static electricity. And it's transferred to this polycarbonate plastic board here. You see that? And this will hold a static charge. The little tiny fine pieces of gold actually stick back there because of that. You can see where it actually overlaps right here in the bottom. See that? And in the old days, remember we had to put a piece of tape there to create dead space? Yeah, because the fine gold wanted to blow out. Well, you don't need that because Pat Keen figured out how to use static electricity. It's mind-blowing. That way we don't lose any gold. And that's all you got to do for a cleanup. You see that? And he's got this cool diffuser plate up here with all these pins. And look, that's why we call it a concentrator, because I took 4 buckets, full buckets, and I turned it into that. That's right. That's our concentrates, or our cons. So we're gonna take this back because I don't got any water out here, and what water we got, I need. So we're gonna take this back to a source of water. Now, before we pan this out, I wanna see how many of you guys out there know or have an idea how much gold's in here. So before we reveal the gold that comes out of this, I want you to leave your guess down in the comments section, okay? Don't cheat now. Don't wait till the end of the video and go, hey, I saw it was 10.5 grams. I'm such a professional. No, put it in there now and see if you got close. Because if you watch my other video on us digging in this spot, you've seen how much gold came out of a little tiny sample. So now I'm curious about this. I know, enough tongue flapping. Blah, 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 blah. Get on to showing us some gold. I'm working on it, man. Why don't you get off the couch, stop drinking that beer, and put down the chips and help me? I could use some help out here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Come on, Superintendent White, let's get back to the water. All right, I got all my cons in here, remember that? And I don't have a lot of water out here because, well, it's in August and it's hot out here and there's no water. So I grabbed my wife's classifier. Chicka wow wow, yeah. Hey, your wife probably has one in the kitchen somewhere. You don't even need to buy one. And we're gonna be using this little tiny baby pan. Why? Because it's a lot easier to pan in a little bit of water than it is to use this big old honkin' monker right here, because that thing's gonna take gobs and gobs of water. First thing we're gonna do is classify. And I already told you why you classify, and if you don't know, well, you need to go back and watch those videos, okay? Make sure your pan is under your classifier. I was just informed by the superintendent. Bucket's clean. Huh, Superintendent? And believe it or not, I'm gonna go over this with a metal detector just in case. Put him in there. All right, now, did you guys get your guess down in the comment section, huh? Huh, don't cheat now. I gotta go slow because the riffles are smaller than on a Garrett Super Sluice. And I don't want to be washing away gold because that is no bueno. And yeah, that's soap in the water. Breaks the surface tension. Just a little more, not much more. Let's go get on in there and get some. Ooh, get that banjo going. All right, let me get my specs on because I can't see anything without them. All right, here we go. We're gonna tap, 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 get all that gold to shift to the front. And then I'm just gonna gently wash that material. See how I just got that nice cascade action going on? See that? And then when I get down to the heavies, you see all these black pieces of magnetite. I'm gonna give it a shake. Like that. Ooh, ooh!
Nice.
Nice! That is not bad. Look at that.
Nice.
That's a nice pan. That's only 4 buckets. Ooh, that is not bad at all. I was hoping to find a nugget. I'm still gonna go over this stuff and metal detect it, but that is not bad. Wow, you imagine doing an 8-hour day? Because that only took us, what, maybe an hour to run 4 buckets? That's not bad for an hour's worth of work. I'd take that. Take that to the bank, Sonny Jim. So I'm gonna go ahead and run my gold bug over this, see if there's any chunky pieces of gold, because there is 1 gram nuggets in this area that have been found. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna find them, but it's always worth the chance of getting into this and finding it. So you always run your detector, a VLF. And I'm gonna tell you now the story of how this gold got here and where it came from. This story will surprise you, I guarantee it. Look at all these dredge piles. And this is a small, small sample of what's over here. They brought in a big dredge line back in the 30s and dredged the heck out of this entire area. And you're asking, okay, Jeff, why did they dredge here? Believe it or not, we are standing on top of the ancestral remains of the ancient Yuba River. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna argue with me, but it's the truth. The Yuba River, the ancestral parts of it, reached all the way up here into Nevada. And we're standing on a section of it right here. It breaks up when you go through those mountains that you see to the northwest. And a lot of those are younger volcanics. And you have a lot of uplifting going on these metavolcanics as well. The river channel does go all the way through this way, up over the Sierras, and then down into California. There are sections of it that are exposed on tops of some of these mountains that you see in the background. Well, a lot of the geologists back then realized that, hey, there's an old river channel, an ancient auriferous channel that is under our feet. They sampled the area with bulldozers by creating all these cuts and pushes. And this is what I'm talking about. You see this big old cut? Yeah, they took bulldozers down here and they dug this huge cut trying to find the old auriferous channel. And you could see it right there. Wow. Of course, everybody and their uncle's got to put their tires in it. I don't know why people do that. They'll drive 100 miles to dump their trash. Oh, look at it. Just look at it. See that? I got rounded river rock that far down. And then see where the cobbles are small? Look at the size of that monker. It's huge. It takes a lot of water to move that. So that zone, you see all the rocks there? Right along that bedding plane right there, you see it? That would be a great place to sample right through there. But this is what they were looking for. This is the old river channels. That is the ancestral part of the Yuba River. This is actually part of it right here. Isn't that cool? What I would try to do is if you could dig down to where this hits bedrock. Oh, mama, that's where the sweet spot is, baby. Chicka wow wow, Fiji. Just gobs and gobs of ironstone. This is a little tiny piece. It's all over the place. That's why I say geology is the key. They all tell a story. All these rocks, all these little cobbles, even the silt, it all tells a story. Like that one up there, that's altered andesite. That came from way up on the mountains where there was a lot of hydrothermal activity and a lot of alteration going on in the andesite, which is a newer volcanic rock. And as you get down lower, you'll see that some of these rocks look just like the ones from the Mother Lode country, and they match the composition of that huge, massive batholith that's over there. Isn't that crazy? So if you just look at the rocks, use a hand lens, pay attention to what they're telling you, they'll tell you a story. And with that information, you can find gold. It's not that hard. So I wanted you to see this because this is very important. I want you to understand how these old auriferous channels work. I want you to understand how a lot of them were covered over with rhyolitic ash flow and then volcanic flow on top of that. That's what you have a lot in the Mother Lode country. And when you see those monitors washing away all the hillsides, that's all rhyolitic tuff that they're washing away. They got to get that stuff out of the way so they can get to the old river channels underneath. And in some places you have lava cap rock on top of that too. So a lot of guys, what they do, they sink shafts right on through, get down to the old ancient bedrock. And if you just do a little bit of sampling here and there, I guarantee you're going to find gold too. It's not that hard, but you got to do the research. It's so important. And I want to give a big shout out to Shannon Carr. Shannon Carr is a good old friend of ours. You know who you are, Shannon. Give you a big thumbs up, and I want to thank you for all your support. He's a good old boy, one of our friends, and he always takes care of us when we need it. So for Shannon Carr, here it comes. Yeehaw! Now, can you imagine coming out here with a PI machine or even a VLF metal detector? Ooh, if they didn't have a nugget trap on the end of their trommel, you could have giant chunks of gold or even specimen gold in these piles. You just need to go over them. And speaking of metal detectors, we're giving one away at the end of this month. That's right, a brand new Mine Lab Gold Monster 1000 metal detector. And not only that, but we got 10 bags of incredibly rich paydirt from our drift mine. These things are world famous. Have you seen them? They look something like this. And each one comes with a 1 ounce silver bar. That's incredible. Now, if you want to get your hands on any of this stuff, just look for the little icon at the end of the video that looks something like that. Just click on it, make a $10 pledge, and you instantly qualify to get your hands on any of that stuff. And I'll see you on the next video.